Welcome to this week's EFL, our Monday review show where we talk all things Championship, League One and League Two. Tom and Jimmy with you today to review the action from the past couple of days. Jim Rod, how are we?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, fine. That's nice pleasantries, isn't it, that you're accustomed to at the start of any podcast.
What would you do if
product.
I just went, I've had a terrible weekend. I'm at an all-time low.
I'd inquire why, and then this would become a therapy session rather than a football review session. It's the same every week, isn't it? But it's another bizarre weekend of EFL action across the division. Some surprise results, some surprise moves that will, or not so surprise moves, I suppose, that we'll talk about as well. It feels like recent episodes, and even though I wasn't on the one last week, are becoming a lot of managerial chat and managers leaving and departing because we are at that time of season. And it feels right that we start by discussing a few of those. And probably the biggest story to come out of the EFL, you want to say this week, but arguably this season as well, considering their place in the table, Middlesbrough well on for a promotion charge. And if you have not seen this, you've done very well to avoid it because it has been everywhere. But Middlesbrough flying well in the mix for promotion back to the Premier League. Even kind of at this early stage, it became clear that they were going to be a top six contender, and that over the weekend, Rob Edwards departing to go back to Wolves. Wow.
Not confirmed yet. Has it been confirmed?
It's not confirmed yet. By the time you listen to this, it probably will be confirmed as I quickly just Google it to make sure. But it basically is happening. He can't exactly go back now to Boro.
Well, the presser got cancelled, didn't it, 1 p.m. Friday. Then that's when you was like, hang on a minute.
It was sort of even before that, wasn't it? Was it Thursday this came out, Thursday night? That
Percy
Wolves
broke it for Telegram.
Yeah, he's very, very good. If you need any kind of EFL news, he's certainly the person to follow because not one of these speculative things. You go, bam, bombshell. You go, oh, wow. The Wolves wanted Rob Edwards as their manager, but Middlesbrough then rejected that approach. So we thought, okay, that's happened. We move on. But then we got to that point where Friday they cancelled the press conference and you went, okay, actually something is happening here.
And then didn't turn up to he was told he doesn't. Surplus to requirements.
Yep.
I've also seen a picture.
Do not come to work.
A removal van at the training ground or near his house or something.
Oh, wow.
So, yep. But I echo the sentiment seen almost exclusively, entirely, all in alignment across social media, which is just an utterly puzzling move when you think about Rob Edwards' career. Great at Forest Green. Went somewhere else, didn't do so good. Watford, but car crash.
Nobody really does well at Watford, do they?
You can't do well at Watford. Brilliant at Luton. Got relegated. Wheels fell off. And then went to Boro. And as you say, what are they? Are they a point off the top of the division after the win at the weekend? They're right in the mix.
Oh, yeah, they're well in the mix.
And as far as clubs go, Middlesbrough are pretty stable. They've got a sensible, I don't know who it is, sporting director or in Steve Gibson, aren't they? The recruitment's brilliant.
Owns the club, yeah.
He owns
Chairman,
the club.
Yeah.
Sorry. Recruitment's always brilliant. He's made a brilliant start. It's a big club, and it gets bandied about, but in recent history, it is a big club, and it's got potential to be a big club, if you know what I mean. So to go jump ship to Wolves, family ties or not, or playing career, I think he played over a decade there. When you're staring down the barrel at another relegation, a squad that's been just had the spine ripped out of it in Wolves, you're constantly losing your best players season upon season and not replacing them. It just seems like such a strange move when things were going so well at Boro. So I don't get it, but it is what it is. But fair play for, if anything, it galvanised them this weekend. And I think it was Dale Fry and Hackney scored the goals, 2 academy lads. Very fitting.
They want to be there, don't they?
Yeah, Bob Mortimer weighed in.
Did it? Yes, I did. Did he do his little star thing? I quite like that.
I like his star
He does little 3-star ratings, doesn't he?
No, someone put a big post on saying, basically, we're bigger than any manager who comes in. We can just sing loud, sing proud for the boys on the weekend, and Mortimer retweeted it. This is all that needs to be said.
The Longlands Club in Middlesbrough, which is obviously bad news for Rob Edwards, because
Yes.
a sign appeared over the weekend which had the Longlands, "Rob Edwards, you are barred, you rat."
Rat. And
Rat's
then
a good
outside,
little insult.
Rob equals rat. I liked that.
It's a nice little touch, and it will be Rob Edwards' second spell as Wolves manager.
Was it?
Yes, he took charge of 2 games after Walter Zenga was sacked in 2016.
Really?
They drew one and they lost the other.
I don't know.
I was going to say, do you want to guess who they are? Because it probably, but it'd just
Oh,
be
the
too
games?
yeah, it'd just be too. I don't even know what clues I can give you, to be honest.
What year was it?
2016, October to November 2016. He was in charge for 2 games in the Championship. I mean, Wolves are on an absolutely horrific run at that point anyway, but he kind of took over before Paul Lambert came in. And then at the very, very end of that season is when Nuno Espirito Santo turned up.
What was it?
So he was in charge, Edwards, for... Whoa. No, I was going to say, what the hell? And Edwards scored in the 1-1 draw against Blackburn.
What, when he was in charge?
But it was Dave Edwards.
Oh.
Yeah, not the same, I'm afraid.
I know what this game needs. Me.
Needs, yeah. Get off, lads. Come on. I'm taking over here. A 1-1 draw away at Blackburn and a 3-2 home defeat to Derby. So he has been in charge of the club before. There are family ties, obviously, for Rob Edwards, which is understandable. We've seen it particularly recently. No, well, we saw
I
it
don't
with
think
John
any
Eustace,
part of
didn't
this
we?
is understandable. I really don't. I don't get it. I don't think I was harsh enough in the first bit when you asked me my opinion.
Be harsher
I think
then.
it's stupid.
But then he's got connections to
great thing
Wolves.
going at
He
Boro.
knows the club. That's a big one. As we all know, he knows the club. Family's obviously around that way, being from Telford, which is down the road, is obviously played for Wolves and stuff like that. It does make sense from that aspect, to be fair. It's not the complete baffling move that maybe some people think.
No, I guess.
I mean, you got the family thing right, but if you've seen this, if you go back on club statements...
Has he got a young family? Has he got, like, kids who are in school?
I don't know the ins and outs of Rob Edwards'
I'd be
personal
worried
life,
if you
I'm
told
afraid.
me, like, all the details of his children, actually.
I tell you what, absolutely excelling in maths. Genius, these kids. I can't believe it. If you go through the statements, a couple of them anyway, Middlesbrough's statement that they put out over the weekend used the phrase, "We initially rejected the approach on the basis of signing a 3-year contract less than 6 months ago. Following discussions, we were disappointed to learn that he wanted to speak to Wolves regarding the head coach vacancy." If you then go back to May 2022, I think it was, and go to Forest Green's statement when he left to go to Watford, they use the phrase, "We're disappointed that our support, loyalty and honesty towards Rob has been repaid in this way, with negotiations taking place behind our backs. We've had no contact from Watford, for whom we might expect less, but in any kind of event, this kind of behaviour gives football a bad name. We thank Rob for his work at Forest Green, forgive him the manner of his departure and wish him well." It's that balance of, okay, there are connections for Wolves, and obviously maybe, as if jump at the opportunity is the right phrase, given their current situation, but when the opportunities presents itself to go and manage Wolves, it's obviously something he wants to do because of his own personal links to the club. But then there's also the balancing act, isn't there, of this is now a couple of clubs that have had to put out statements of this nature. Once you go, okay, it's, you shouldn't have done it, but okay, it happens. But then to do it on more than one occasion to a couple of clubs, it's surely going to have some kind of long-term impact, especially with Wolves, who are expected to go down this year anyway.
100%. I was just thinking then when you were saying, imagine if Boro was in the Prem and Wolves approached him in the Championship. Do you think he would have gone? He's got all these family ties in that. Would he have dropped down a division?
I don't know.
His love for the club so much. I can't see it.
I mean, ultimately as well, he is stepping up a division for an extended period of time. They've only played 11 games in the Premier League or whatever. He's got like 25, 26, whatever it is, or games to manage. So it's not like he's turning up for the final months and is probably going to get sacked.
Jumping ship is
But you're not having it.
It's so dangerous. It's such a dangerous precedent to set. Another man who did it this summer, Liam Manning. We said
yes,
he needed to get this one right because he'd done the same thing to Bristol City. He'd done it to Oxford. These last 2 appointments, he got them going, playing well, and then just sort of abandoned them mid-season or the end of a season or when he was in the midst of doing good things for both clubs. So he went to Norwich, and that's not gone very well, has it?
Norwich's statement far more straightforward, I think, on that one. You're generic. It's not gone well. Thank you for your efforts, but we're going to have to make a change. But Norwich, another one of those managerial departures, but as I said at the start, not so much of a surprise. This one outlined some of the reasons there, but I mean, for Norwich, I know I wasn't alone in thinking that there's a lot of potential there. If you look back at the predictions, because I was earlier, because we'll talk about kind of the unexpected nature of the Championship as a whole shortly. So I kind of went back and looked at my own predictions, other people's predictions. It was quite bizarre how so many places had sort of a similar build of the Championship prediction. A lot of the same teams are back to do badly. A lot of the same teams are back to do well. Norwich were one of those. I think I had them as high as like 4th, because when you looked at all the factors that were going into this season, everything seemed quite straightforward that they would have a good campaign. It's not been the case. 1-0 up against Leicester. They've lost that game due to a late goal for the Foxes. I mean, it's one small, not small part, but it's one part of the factor of Norwich at the moment, because there's just such a huge level of unhappiness at this club that I just don't know how things improve without further changes higher up the chain.
Yeah, well, that was the thing I was drawn to, because Manning, it's 11 without winning the league. They'd lost 7 of their last 8, lost all 7 at home. The performance against Hull was really positive, I thought. They absolutely dominated that game until Hull scored with their first shot on target around the hour mark or something like that, and then sort of spiralled from there. But I was looking towards, because a lot of the anger wasn't exclusively I'm talking about the Norwich fans, wasn't exclusively towards Manning. A lot of it was towards Ben Napper, the sporting director, and he took charge mid-November 2023. That season, Norwich finished 6th. They had Wagner in charge. Playoff campaign. Who did they lose to? Leeds, wasn't it?
Leeds, they drew 0-0 first leg and then
got battered
4-0 second leg, yeah.
And then he went after that, and then Jonas Hoff, Forup, came in, didn't he?
Yeah.
Didn't last the season. Wilshere finished the season. I think he took charge of 2 games, but Norwich ultimately finished bottom half. And then you're up to this third appointment of Liam Manning. And I was looking, has the club been mismanaged into like managerial appointments, getting rid of Wagner? So I remember us doing the pods every week, and it just felt inevitable, even though there wasn't.
There was a game where they played. I think it might have been someone like Blackburn at home, and it was on TV. It was a televised game, so you watch that. They lost that game, and like the second half was so weird. It was like no atmosphere. Everyone just completely deflated, and you could just tell everyone was waiting. Everyone knew what was going to happen after the game. There'd be club statement. Thank you, David Wagner. You're gone. We've made a change. That never happened. No. I don't know if it fell in the cracks of a sporting director changeover, and one going out didn't want to deal with it. One coming in didn't think, well, I'm not quite there yet, so I won't do it. And they kind of just left it. Results then improved. They got into the playoffs. That was kind of a weird point. And then when they had Hofthorpe in, they looked like a team who were getting there. There was always kind of the issues of, they weren't always going to pick up results and stuff like that. But then you think, before they won the league with Farke, they had a bad campaign.
Yeah, they did.
And it was like, okay, actually, you watch this team, and there's something there about them that you could see with minor improvements here and there in terms of the playing personnel and the way the league was then shaping up, which we all saw over the summer, that it could click. Something could happen. That wasn't the case. They opted to make the change. And they're basically now in this mess where the team's performing badly. They're kind of looking over the shoulder of relegation, and you've got protests outside the ground. I mean, there's videos.
Oh, and that nasty protest in the ground.
Of it, yeah. Oh, yeah. How many?
Was it, like 5-6 tennis balls?
Yeah, that's shown them, hasn't it? And then outside the ground, they're basically waiting, protesting at the director's entrance. Like 8 home games, I think it is now, in a row that they've lost. It's just a bigger picture thing that, unless something significant happens, at what point do we expect any improvement? Because it feels like it's a club that has lacked ambition, serious ambition, for quite a while, and that includes when they're in the Premier League as well.
Yeah, because this is what I was trying to get at with Napper. Like, I had chance to get like into the nerve centre of Norwich and Napa, like listen to like 5-6 hours of their podcast, get on like Reddit threads, look at the replies, get on a fan website and really get into it. But so this is just basic transfers. I told you about the managerial history. So nothing really happened when he came. The first transfer window, they let Forshaw go and Placheta go on frees. By the way, both of those are still at Championship clubs. Placheta is one of the most creative players at Oxford. Standards low, I'll give you that.
But
Forshaw's also still. I think he's a squad player. Where did I see him come on? Bristol City, isn't he now? Did he come off the bench for Bristol City?
I say
No, am I getting mixed up with Randall? I'm getting mixed up with Randall. They
Ashley Young's Ipswich.
Not Ashley Young.
What are you saying, sorry?
I'm saying Adam Forshaw.
Oh, you said Ashley Young. I was like, what?
No. And then I got mixed up with Randall because they played together at Plymouth.
Adam Forshaw's at Blackburn.
Yep, sorry. Yep, easy mistake. B.
Yeah.
And then Randall, come on. And then the next window, 24-25, I counted 14 players went out, got rid of. Like an idiot, I didn't count how many come in, but listen to these players that went out, and the majority on frees. So, Ben Gibson, Sam McCallum, Hanley. I've written Barnsley.
Okay.
Danny Bath also went on a free, but that's a cluster of players. They're also playing in the Championship. All got experience. They also lost Sarah, Adaya, Camara. Rowe got loaned out that season as well. And then the players that have come in, a lot of these names I've never really heard of. They got Slimani from Sheffield United. He played a bit. Crank, Jurasek, Forson, Cadoba, McConville. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that name. But it's a lot of churn, and it seems like a lot of like bullishness from the sporting director, because like the players they just let go on frees. 14 players gone. And a lot of them still playing the trade in the second tier, playing for decent teams. And then 2025, Sainz, Nunes, Brad Hills went all for money. John Rowe officially left for Marseille. A lot of these players were there before Ben Napa came in. Like, he wasn't really like the brains behind those. And then I'm just not really sure about any of the players that have come in. Jacob Wright from Man City, he's a player with bags of potential, total footballer by all accounts, bit of an edge. And Chris Garden, he's looked good when I've seen him, but
been unlucky with injury on that one, haven't they? I think a little bit. Did score at the weekend, so I think he's got a couple. But again, I expected probably a little bit more. Although, he has been sidelined. Yeah,
so I don't know. Looking at this list, you've got potentially some players with potential. They've made £13 million profit in euros, according to Transfermarkt, over Ben Napa's reign. But a lot of the players that they sold for big money, correct me if I'm wrong, but Ben Napa inherited. He's flogged them. He's invested in new players. And I'm looking at the list of incomes, and I'm struggling to see many where I think, yeah, that's good. Or, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get Norwich fans' frustration. And you look at the managerial appointments. You had a man who finished 6th. And for some reason, you back yourself into a corner. It was inevitable that he was going. A gamble on the another appointment didn't really work, or you didn't give him enough time. We just don't know. And then the third appointment, car crash. So I get Norwich's frustration, fans' frustration.
If you look at kind of go back to the pre-season odds and stuff like that, and this is a wider point on the Championship, all of those expected to go well at the top end of the division simply haven't been the case. And Norwich are one of those. Norwich are expected to be around 7th if those kind of implied probabilities came to fruition. They are 23rd. They are 16 places lower. Only one side who were expected to be up there are lower than that. One of the significant underperformers of the campaign. And the good thing is the nature of the division, and particularly how it's shaping up this season, is that you can quickly turn it round. You can salvage your season. We've seen Ipswich, who were really, really struggling early doors. They've snuck up to 7th in the table without people really noticing. So there is a long time to go, and maybe Norwich fans don't want to be compared to Ipswich that much. But there is that positive. They can salvage the situation. We just don't trust them to do that. I don't think it'd be fair based on
Norwich.
The outlining points that you've said there, and the players, the churn, the managerial decisions that have been made already, the general unhappiness around the club that, like we say, is stretched back to the... I mean, beyond that, you can go to when Farker was in the Premier League and he wasn't really backed. Okay, they got players like Josh Sargent came in at that point, and they have kind of lasted throughout the years. This is the general unhappiness that is stretched back to that point through the Wagner era. Even though they made the playoffs, there were factors that went into that campaign that weren't really up to expectation. And then it's continued on from there. So it's not exactly like you can go, oh, they can just go out and get someone to turn it round, because everything around the club suggests that it's just not going to be the case.
No, I know. And I was just thinking then, so this is only going to be Napper's third full season in charge. He's been there 4, I guess, including this one. And he's got to go out and get his 4th managerial appointment. Last season, 14 players went out. At least 8 players come in. This season, they lost 4 big money, including Rowe, Sainz, Nunes. I'd put Brad Hills in that category.
He's sold for money.
He's a great player. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players came in. Even Manning. How many games have you given him? 15, 16? There's a lot of churn.
That's the big thing
stability.
to have, to decide.
It just seems rash.
To decide we're going to get rid of the project we had.
Yeah.
For essentially this opportunity to get someone who we think came 6th last year, but then his Bristol City team weren't exactly unbelievably good, that made you go, oh, we have to go and get him. To pick back up on that earlier point, the general shape of the championship, like I said, everyone's underperforming. So if you take where they're expected to be at the start of the campaign, Ipswich sits 6 places lower, Southampton 15 places lower, Birmingham 8 lower, Sheffield United 18 lower, Coventry are the only one, they're going 4 higher. Oh, yeah. So they were obviously, 4 higher, 5th up to 1st currently. Leicester sits 6 places lower. Norwich, as we just said, they're 16 places lower. West Brom 6 lower than they were expected to be. Nobody is performing as expected. Really, when we look across the course of the table, there might be 1 or 2, who are sort of mid-table nothingness, but as much as it's kind of the attention has rightly been on Coventry, Stoke, I guess we could put Middlesbrough into that category, Preston, Hull, particularly relegation fancied sides who have completely told everyone that they're completely wrong, and we have to admit we have got it wrong on those ones. That the flip side is there's too many of these teams that are just underperforming and have been forced into making changes, as we're seeing at Southampton and things like that. Sheffield United, another one who've already made a change. Norwich can now join that group of teams. Nobody's performing as expected. And in a league that has got the cliche of being very, very unpredictable, the Championship's unpredictability scale has just found another level, because you've got rid of, usually, I don't know, it's because there's Ipswich and Southampton, but there's usually a team that is almost, or a couple like a juggernaut, like a Leicester, and Leeds as it transpired. I mean, recent years we've kind of had Wolves and Burnley and things like that, Fulham, who at that level particularly proved that they were very, very good. It's just not been anywhere near expectation, and it's just made it very, very good, I guess you could say, from a neutral perspective.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's got the hallmarks of an all-timer of a season this year, but Joe made the point, I think it was last week actually, or it might have been when we were talking about Russell Martin getting sacked at Rangers, that it's almost like it's coming full circle this season, where you get system managers coming into the Championship with all the wealth of the Premier League, setting the stall out in one way, and then once it clicks, just absolutely romping through the division. But this season, and the unpredictability of it, when the results haven't sort of immediately clicked into place with, say, well, still, for example, I put Manning in that category. Owners are pressing the panic button, and it feels nice because you're getting, I'm guessing the next spell in the cycle is going to be appointments, managers in the business of results, not in the business of systems, and I think it's just going to make it an unbelievably good season. Having said that, you said Ipswich have snuck into the reckoning. Are they unbeaten in 4 now? 3 wins across that period.
Since the surprise loss at home to Charlton, wasn't it?
Yeah. But even that was unbelievable for an hour. They just couldn't score. So it feels like it might be starting to take shape. But I was at the Coventry game when they beat Sheffield United 3-1 last Tuesday, and and I've seen a fair bit of them because they are the leaders. They're always on. There's Sky's darlings a bit at the minute. They'll always have an early kickoff or what, so you can watch them a lot. But seeing them live in the flesh, I was thinking the whole time the way how expansive they are in possession. Like they just reminded me so much of Leeds last season.
Mm.
Just the way they play. I wouldn't be surprised if Lampard's based a lot of his possession tactics on Farke's Leeds last season, because it was Grimes dropping in between the back two, fullbacks with chalk on the boots, and then 4 across the front. And it's so hard to do anything about that, when they just got the opposition just pinned back like.
It's like suffocating them, isn't it? It's
yeah.
like you can't really do much about it whatsoever. I was just quickly looking up what the table was at this time last year. I mean, Leeds were third at this point last year. They'd 8-5-2 was their record. If we can get, where's my championship table gone? There, Coventry 10 wins, 4 draws, 1 defeat. They're plus 27 on their goal difference. Leeds were plus 15. Leeds had scored 24. Coventry have scored 40, 4-0. And defensively as well. I mean, Leeds and Burnley were superb, and that defensive element was a big side of that. Leeds had conceded 9. Coventry had conceded 13 at this stage. So not just similarities, but in terms of kind of the raw performances, the actual outcomes that are happening. I mean, Leeds were quite wasteful at times last season as well. Coventry just don't seem to have that. They've got numerous players on a significant total of goals at this point in the season. So we say that, they remind us a lot of the Leeds team last year. The current rate is they're going to do a lot better than the Leeds team of that last season. And again, you don't want to get carried away, but a third of the way through the season, they'll never say it and they'll admit it, but somewhere in the back of their mind, there's got to be a thought on that 106-point record that Reading hold, because it's a combination of having an absolutely superb team, very, very, very good, in a division that is incredibly open. And while we talk about everyone kind of scrapping around, Coventry have got a 5-point lead already at this stage. They'll never say it. There'll always be a let's not get carried away, but they'd be missing a trick if that's not in their thought process somewhere, going that, there have been 100-point teams. There have been multiple 100-point teams, Burnley, Leeds in recent years.
Fulham?
It's kind of getting to that point, though, isn't it, where everyone's sort of getting there. And they'll be in the mind of, they're a good team, we'll always kind of remember them. But to actually have the opportunity to put your name in a record book somewhere to a tally that recent years teams getting close to pushing and breaking the record but can't quite do it, it would be a very silly missed opportunity for this Coventry team not to do that.
Yeah.
A third of the way in the season, because they look just head and shoulders above everyone else. They're playing on another level in this championship. It would just be such a missed opportunity if they can't do it.
Yeah, I know. And even the win, they beat Stoke, weren't it, 1-0 at the weekend?
Yeah, surprisingly low scoring game for Coventry. Grow up.
But versatility to them, I guess. Grinding out a 1-0 win, it was a well-taken goal late on as well. That'll just stoke the fire. That just stoke their momentum even more. But look at even individual bits of their game. You mentioned keeper, clean sheet statistics. Their defence is unbelievably sound. Even if they can't play through you, they're unbelievably threatening from set pieces. And they get so many corners, free kicks, just because of how much territory they have. So they can beat you in about 3 or 4 different ways.
And it's just how they'll occasionally just turn up and go, we'll play 3 at the back this week. And you go, oh, right, okay. Fine. So there is some kind of movement around that.
Having said that, seeing it live in the flesh, first half, Sheffield United extremely lucky to get a goal ahead. Corner, Ben Mee got first contact, cannoned in off somebody. But there was a spell for 15 minutes going into the going into half time. Sheffield United had front 2, Cannon, Tyrese Campbell.
Yeah.
And because Coventry was so good at pressing, Ben Mee realised if he just shells it down the touchline and gets Cannon just to make a nuisance of himself, because of how high they press, it was genuinely a 2v2 and the centre-backs were so spread out. So if anybody's listening, I don't know if you got some quick lads up front, but just boot it down the channels against Coventry.
Boot it to some quick lads.
And then just hope for the best that they're having an off day in defence. But I did think if we just keep shelling it down the channels, we've got a chance here. And then second half, Wilder went from a back 5 to a back 4. Cooper got injured and then we got absolutely spanked. But yeah, I do. I've been seeing Coventry. Honestly, it reminded me so much of when Leeds tore us apart at Bramall Lane. So much. I think you're right. I think genuinely definite chance of 100 plus, potential chance of 107. I don't know.
I need to do the actual kind of maths on, but they must be on for it, and it's obviously a different thing being on for it and that. But like I said, they don't get near it at the very least. It'd be such a missed opportunity because teams like this don't come around very often.
I was just thinking, they've got so much depth in attack. Like even Sims, he can't barely get a look in at the minute, but he's a great option. But potentially, I was thinking, what would be an injury that would absolutely kill them? Obviously, it's Rushworth in goal. That'd be a killer.
Yeah, he's not had a great deal to do in certain games, but then when he has, it's like bang, pops up, crucial save.
Or the other one who I thought is absolutely pivotal to how they play potentially, and it's not a surprise. He's been doing it in the Championship for ages. Is Grimy, middle of the park, maybe, but he's going to be tough to replace if they lose him. But other than that, they got depth everywhere.
It's mad. They have 3 of the top scorers in the top 6.
It's nuts.
I mean, a couple of players are obviously tied on 6, but Thomas Asante's on 10, Hadji Wright's on 8, Victor Torp's on 6. That's silly. Sharing the goals around as well. It's not like one's got 20 and you go, if he's injured, we're in trouble. It's just, like you say, depth all over.
Scary depth.
Let's just take a quick dive into League One before we finish, because one of the results of the weekend, Peterborough United.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, I think the game you thought we might mention we'll maybe touch upon in a minute. But Luke Edwards has gone in at Peterborough. I'll be honest, when I was looking through kind of the weekend slate, just knowing what his teams have been sort of like at Swansea, at Notts County, I thought if Peterborough fans have been deprived of entertainment, they are going to get it, I think, in this form. It won't always be the right form of entertainment in terms of scoring goals yourselves, but immediately jumped out to me that these could be really high-scoring games. What I did not expect, if you said there would be 5 goals in Williams' first game in charge of Peterborough, I'd go, yeah, probably. Wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. If you said all 5 of those would come from Peterborough, yes, I would be surprised. A team that have struggled all season. You talk about instant impact. You could not have asked for a better instant impact than that.
No, I know. Obviously, Luke Williams had success at Notts County, got them out of the 5th tier. Didn't work out for him in League 2. Defensive issues was the problem, but I looked in the half a season he had in his second campaign in League 2, I think. Or he keeps getting sacked around Valentine's Day. Yeah. It makes digging the numbers out difficult. But when he was at County in the Football League, the goals averaged just under 4 per game. They were so good going forward, but just couldn't keep them out at the other end. And then at Swansea, it was well over 2.5 a game again. So yeah, just strap yourself in because it's going to be a great ride at Peterborough. And if there was ever a sort of a goals crazy manager and a team you'd want him to go to, I think Peterborough would be towards the top of the list.
It feels immediately of the way that they want to operate, Peterborough. Yeah. Like, if you kind of talk about various clubs, and I mean, obviously not just because he was there, but Notts County were one of these, and you kind of think, how do Peterborough want to play? And you think about their long line of players that they've kind of touted out or got out of non-league, bought them up, sold them on for big money, and kind of the players they bought. It's definitely that style of play, isn't it? So it feels like it's probably going to be a good fit early on. Yeah,
absolutely. And you think Peterborough are the absolute masters of plucking ridiculously good attackers from non-league in the London Borough district.
Yeah.
And you
play for Dagenham, you're going to play for Peterborough, and you're not like it.
But Luke Williams, the way he plays, I don't really know about him as a character, but in terms of creating an environment where the attackers are going to thrive and be able to be the best versions of they can and develop the best way they can, I feel like he's going to be a pretty good manager. But not only that, the defenders, because they've had some good defenders come through, but Luke Williams, if he spells at Swansea and County or anything to go by, he'll want to play total football. He'll not be bothered if you drop a clanger and concede, I don't think. So he's going to be encouraging defenders to play in a way, and not worry about dropping.
I was just double checking the stats because we talk expected goals, and it's a stat that makes you roll your eye. Isaac's. It's effectively all it is a metric that evaluates the quality of a chance. Peterborough scored 5 from 4.18 XG this weekend, and you think that's about right? That is a phenomenally high figure, and only one of those was penalties, I believe, as well. So to get that sort of impact in his first league game, because we've got to remember as well, they beat Cardiff in the FA Cup, didn't they, in his actual first game in charge? I know we talk high-scoring contest, and that was a 1-0-er, but maybe we'll forgive him with being first game. Let's just get a result on that one. So absolutely remarkable. I feel the game you thought I was going to mention, because you went, oh yeah, as in the other one. Was it Stockport Luton by any chance?
Well, I just wanted to talk about the top of League One in general.
Go for it.
It felt like a Acker Builder's nightmare in League One. And it has been a weekend of missed opportunities at the top of the division. Only one of the top 8 won. So, yeah, Stockport still lead the way. They lost 3-0 at home to Luton. Bradford lost at home to Burton. Bolton, the only winners from the top 8, they beat Port Vale 4-0. Cardiff lost against Blackpool. Stevenage lost against Reading on Thursday, I believe that was. Lincoln got spanked by Rotherham. What's happened to them?
What is going on here?
Wimbledon on the wrong end of that 5-0 we just talked about against Peterborough. And I put Mansfield lost 2-1 to Mansfield, but I can't remember who they played.
Are you taking a leaf from Joe's book on the Acker episode last week? Because he kept saying everyone's beating Ipswich. Who did you say, sorry? Mansfield.
Did they lose to Northampton?
Lost to Northampton in the early kick-off, yes.
Early kick-off 2-1.
Yes.
Yeah. So it just felt like a weekend of missed opportunities. But speaking to the bigger picture of the Championship, to League One, you spoke about in the Championship the unpredictability, how the teams you'd expected to do well based on pre-season odds. There's a 15-point gap from 1st to 24th in League One. Just 15 points, which is the lowest it's been for nearly 20 years, which is just nuts. It's ridiculously tight. And the fact that the top 2 can both lose, and I think Stockport started the weekend at top, that they lost 3-0, they're still top. It's going to be it's going to be a League One season for the ages
I fancied them for a good season before we started, but I can't. I keep looking at Blackpool's top 6 potential. It's Ian Evatt's come in, doubled their win tally for the season in his first 2 games in charge. They also beat Scunthorpe, who, to be fair, are going well in the National League, in the FA Cup. I just feel he's the exact sort of character that, for a short-term impact, I think in the long term, maybe players get a bit fed up with the, getting told off and the nature of those. But in the short term, it's really like we have been bad here. We really need to sort it out. Because you said it there, they are only 10 points off the playoffs. And how many times do we see this in League One, where we always have it? Leyton Orient will won. There are teams who always just fly into the playoffs, and it always seems to be this division where it happens. Blackpool may be 21st, and they may well now go down because I've said it, but there's just something about the appointment of Ian Evatt, the turnaround in the results, the fact that they beat Cardiff at Bloomfield Road as well on Saturday, who, their kind of forms a discussion for another day. But I just can't shake the feeling that Blackpool will be in the top 6 at the end of the season.
Yeah, and it's nuts because obviously they lost a couple of their standout performers from last season. But we were saying the business Bruce did in the summer felt good. It felt sensible. It felt like a good platform to build on. And then Ashley Fletcher, he got a couple of goals at the weekend. He's a player of real pedigree. I don't know if Horsfall's back in the squad, but they signed him from Stockport.
He's back. Yeah, I mean,
player I love. He's so good for the level. It's just a side and a spine with such solid foundations. As you said about Evatt, like 2 years of him digging you out in the press every week, you're gonna be like, I'm not playing for this guy anymore. But at first, you'll get your back up, and he always does have immediate response, doesn't he? He gets the team going fairly quickly.
I can't remember exactly, but I'm just going to go, yes.
Yeah, I said it, hopefully, and you go, yeah, that's absolutely true. But it feels like it should be true. And it is true here at Blackpool at the minute, isn't it? As you say, massive win.
Looking at the stats, we'll finish off shortly. I'm just looking at the stats from the weekend. That forward line of Tom Bloxham and Ashley Fletcher combined for 12 shots in that game. Bloxham had 7, Fletcher had 5. I mean, it's basically work the ball to the forwards and let them have opportunities. And, if they're going to do that on a consistent basis, then, Jesus, yeah, goals will surely follow on that one.
Yeah, because I only know it's because Dwight Gale and Steve Bruce always seem to be in a feud online.
What's going on with that? Why?
I don't know.
Every podcast, it's just something that's happening.
I don't know, but Gale did go out and criticise Bruce's lack of tactical knowledge, which is believable given the sort of era he's from of management. But it wouldn't be a surprise for Evatt to come in and just give these players a bit of guidance, or just say just do this, or just try and do this, and just be here when you ain't got the ball, and do this when you have got the ball, and see some improvements. And as you say, 10 points. It wasn't last season; it was the season before. Doncaster just turned it on, didn't they, around January, and absolutely rocketed up League Two.
I want to find it because this time last year, Leyton Orient must have been in a similar position. Absolutely convinced at it. I'm going to try and quickly find the table before we finish off because so we've played, 15, 16 games or something in League One. After 16 games, Leyton Orient were 19th. They were 10 points off the playoffs.
There you go,
the
boy.
Stars are aligning for the mighty Blackpool. Should we finish off there?
Yeah.
Let's round it off then. That is it for our review of the weekend's action. It is, of course, the international break this weekend, but that's fine because there's still League One and League Two action. And for Thursday's episode of the ACCA, hopefully that makes us a bit more focused.
Hyper-focused.
Just hyper-focus on a select amount of fixtures. It does also mean that loads of games go to 3 p.m, weirdly. When there's less Premier League games and more chance to promote the EFL,
no,
we just wedge them all in at 3 p.m. for our benefit. So we'll be back on this week's ACCA on Thursday.